Hello, my name is Dr. Giuseppe Paladini. I'm the founder of Stepping Bricks, and today we're going to talk about recent political changes and economical changes in more details about stamp duty. Now, the October budget shook a little bit the market, especially in England, where the stamp duty was increased from 3% to 5% on any additional home that people can buy. So basically this was meant to affect mainly property investors or landlords. Obviously the English community was complaining about this extra 2% from 3 to 5%, and in Scotland it was already raised a few years ago from 4% to 6%. So obviously the English stamp duty was still lower than the 6% of the Scotland ADS, Additional Dwelling Supplement. Now obviously we also had the budget in Scotland, and they had a brilliant idea of raising it from 6% to 8%. Now 8% is shocking, let me tell you. However, that doesn't affect only landlords and investors, because this is something that probably the government is not aware of, because they're trying to penalize property investors because they are stealing all the properties from first-time buyers and from the normal people they want to get on the property ladder. This is not the case, unfortunately, and they're going to damage a lot more people than they think. Let me tell you why. Just to give you an idea on what the ADS is, the Additional Dwelling Supplement, basically is an additional tax that you pay on any purchase that is above your residential house. So if you have your residential house, then you don't pay that, but any additional property you buy to your portfolio, then you have to pay this percentage. So if you are in England, at the moment is 5%, if you are in Scotland is 8%, and then it changes wherever you are. In Wales is 4%. So in this case, where you have to account for an additional 8% in the case of Scotland for a purchase, for the money you're putting together for purchasing a property. Let's say, for example, you're buying a £100,000 property. That means you have £8,000 you have to put towards the tax that is payable at the moment of completion. So at the moment you sign everything with your solicitor, that's where you need to pay your deposit, your stamp duty, and of course the solicitor's fee. So all these additional money that you have to pay, of course, they're going to have an impact on your profit later on. But let's talk about how these changes in tax from the government will impact not only investors and landlords, but also normal people. For example, we have Golden Tree Estates. It's an estate letting agency, and we sell properties for other people as well, not just investors. Now let's say somebody is in a chain and they want to buy another property before selling their own property. Because otherwise, if they say, oh, I'm selling my property, if my property is sold before I find another one, where do I stay? It makes sense, but it also makes sense to always put your property on the market first and then buy the next one. Specifically in this case, because if you don't put your property on the market first and you buy the next property before selling yours, then you have to pay that 8% in Scotland and 5% in England and so on. That is an additional cost. Remember, investors generally try to find cheaper properties, so they're not trying to buy £500,000 properties, okay, most of the cases. But first-time buyers or people that already have a property they want to upgrade, they generally bid on higher value properties. And higher value properties, it means the percentage they're going to pay on the additional dwelling supplement or stamp duty, it's way higher than a couple £1,000, okay? So they are going to be affected by this. Maybe their affordability will change, so they won't be able to afford anymore the property they were going to buy because they have to add that big percentage of tax they have to pay. Now, it's okay even if you pay, then you can claim it back. If you sell your property within the next 18 months, that's fine. But still, it's something that you have to put up front, okay? And sometimes it stings, let's be honest. Now, not only people that are selling their property or people that are buying another property, they are affected by this. But let's talk about tenants and renters, okay? Because obviously the government is thinking, oh, these greedy landlords, they are taking all the properties, our tenants in the UK cannot be on the property ladder because they can't find any properties. Let me tell you the truth about this. There are two types of people. The number one type of people is the people that can't afford to buy a property. Number two, people that don't want to buy a property. They're happy to rent for the whole life, not having that responsibility, because it's a big responsibility to have a property, and just rent and forget about all the rest. So there are these two types of people, which is, they're perfectly fine, okay? There's nothing wrong with them. They chose to either not buy a property and rent forever, or maybe they want but they can't afford. So maybe they need to find a better job or a bigger income, or I don't know what other situation, personal situation. But not everybody is in a position to buy, okay, or want to be in a position to buy. So we're not affecting anybody, or landlords are not affecting anybody by buying more properties and providing a good service to people that want to rent forever. If you remove all the landlords from the market, there's not going to be renters. And as I said before, there are people that can't afford and people that don't want to afford. Okay? Now, what happens if you increase the tax on investors, on landlords, on the second property, let's say, or any additional property? This is what's going to happen. There are going to be less people buying another property, which means there's going to be less supply of properties available for people that want to rent, which means the demand is still high, because now it's already high, but with less property it's going to shoot to the roof, and I can tell you that. That means only one thing, and I'm sorry to say that, but that means only one thing. If there is a lot of demand and small supply, the cost of the product or the service will go up. Regardless, this is economic 101. It's not me trying to suggest anybody. These are the rules of economy. So the government probably is not thinking properly how it's going to affect their tenants or the people that they can't afford or don't want to afford the property. They're not thinking properly how they're structuring the tax, because you're not penalizing just the investors. You're penalizing everybody at different levels. Now, I hope this video clarifies a little bit about the current situation when there is a tax change. But now I want to cover one other thing. If you are a property investor and you're scared of the increase in tax, increase in percentage that you have to pay, let me tell you, changes will happen regardless. Now, it's your choice if you want to adapt to change or resist the change, but it's going to happen regardless. So from our perspective, we will continue buying properties, we will continue refurbishing properties and give them in a very good state, very good standards to our tenants, because they're going to stay for longer, they're going to be happy, they have a very good property to rent, and then we will just account for it. Okay, we will account for that extra 2% of tax that we have to pay when we purchase a property. Now, there is a way to reduce that ADS, the additional dwelling supplement, and this way is called multiple dwelling relief. So, for example, if you are an investor and you buy 6 or more properties all together in one transaction in one single day, then you are eligible for a discount, a massive discount. It's called multiple dwelling relief. You can check it on the government website. So 6 or more properties, you are eligible for a discount. In that case, the ADS doesn't affect too much. I hope it's been useful. If you have any questions, just comment below, subscribe to the channel, don't forget to share. We also have a club membership where we can meet every single week and give you a lot of training. If you want to sign up to the club, we'll put the link in the comments. And my name is Dr. Giuseppe Paladini, founder of Stepping Bricks, and I'll see you there. Bye bye for now.